You know that feeling when you get out of bed in the morning and your hips just don't want to cooperate? Maybe you take a few steps and feel that stiffness, that dull ache, like your joints are begging you to sit back down. Or perhaps you've noticed it's harder to bend down, tie your shoes, or even enjoy a walk like you used to. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Hip pain after 60 is incredibly common. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be your new normal. The truth is, our hips take a beating over the years. Sitting too much, losing muscle strength, even the way we walk can add up to stiffness and discomfort. But the worst thing you can do? Ignore it and hope it gets better on its own. Because here's what happens. Tight hips lead to poor posture, which throws off your balance, which makes you move less, and before you know it, you're caught in a cycle that steals your independence. I don't want that for you. And that's why today we're going to tackle this head on with 5 simple stretches that can loosen those stiff joints, ease the pain, and help you move freely again. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Stretching? Really? Will that actually help? Absolutely. Think of your hips like a rusty hinge. If you never oil it, it'll only get stiffer, but with a little care, it can move smoothly again. These stretches aren't complicated or exhausting. In fact, you could do most of them right at home, even if you're not super flexible. The key is consistency. Just a few minutes a day can make a world of difference. So let's start with the first stretch. And this one's perfect if you're dealing with tightness in the front of your hips, maybe from sitting too much. It's called the standing hip flexor stretch, and here's how to do it safely. Find a sturdy chair or counter to hold on to for balance. Step 1 foot back, keeping your front knee slightly bent. Now, gently tuck your pelvis under, almost like you're trying to flatten your lower back against a wall. You should feel a stretch along the front of that back leg's hip. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing deeply. No bouncing. If you feel any sharp pain, ease up. This isn't about pushing to the point of discomfort. It's about gradually opening up those tight areas. Do this once or twice on each side, and you'll notice your hips start to thank you. Now, the second stretch is a game changer for outer hip tightness, that area that might ache when you're lying in bed or getting out of the car. It's called the seated figure 4 stretch, and it's wonderfully gentle. Sit tall in a chair, no slouching, and cross your right ankle over your left knee, letting your right knee fall open. Keep your spine long. Imagine a string pulling you up from the top of your head. If you're flexible enough, you can lean forward slightly to deepen the stretch, but only go as far as feels comfortable. You should feel this in your glutes and outer hip, not your knee. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch sides. This stretch is fantastic for improving rotation and relieving pressure on those joints. Now, here's something important. Listen to your body. Some mild discomfort is normal, especially if you're just starting out, but sharp or shooting pain means you should stop. And if you've had a hip replacement or serious arthritis, check with your doctor before trying new movements. But for most of you, these stretches will be a safe, simple way to start reclaiming your mobility. Here's how to do it safely. Lie on your back on a firm surface. Your bed works if it's not too soft. Bend both knees, feet flat. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, just above the knee. Now, gently reach through and clasp your hand behind your left thigh, pulling it toward your chest. You should feel a deep stretch in your right buttock. That's your piriformis muscle, which often gets tight and irritates the sciatic nerve. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing deeply. No janking. This should feel like a satisfying release, not pain. Switch sides and repeat. Now, here's a pro tip. If lifting your leg is tough, loop a towel or resistance band around your thigh to help guide the movement. This stabilizes your pelvis so you don't overstretch your lower back. Gently pull until you feel a comfortable stretch in your hip and lower back, not your knee. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch legs. Now, if you've been dealing with hip pain for a while, you might notice something interesting when you do these stretches. One side is way tighter than the other. That's completely normal. Most of us have a dominant side we favor when walking or standing. But over time, that imbalance can lead to more pain. That's why it's so important to take your time with the tighter side. Maybe hold that stretch a few seconds longer or repeat it an extra time. And remember, this isn't a quick fix, it's a lifestyle adjustment. The more regularly you do these, the better your hips will feel over time. So try to make them part of your daily routine, maybe right after your morning coffee or before bed. In the next part, we'll cover 2 more stretches that target different areas of the hip, including one that's perfect for lower back relief, because so often hip pain and back pain go hand in hand. But for now, give these first 2 a try and let me know in the comments how they feel. Have you struggled with hip stiffness? What activities do you wish were easier? I'd love to hear from you. You know, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when it comes to hip pain is thinking it's just part of getting older, something you have to live with. But here's what they don't tell you. Movement is medicine. Those stiff, achy joints aren't just crying out for rest. They're begging for the right kind of movement. That's why the stretches we're covering today aren't just about temporary relief. They're about retraining your hips to move the way they were designed to. Now, let's talk about a stretch that's a must if you struggle with tightness deep in your hip socket, the kind that makes it hard to lift your leg or rotate your hip. It's called the lying piriformis stretch, and it's perfect for that nagging pain that sometimes shoots down your leg. And here's something I want you to remember. Progress, not perfection. Maybe today you can only pull your knee halfway to your chest. That's okay. What matters is that you're moving in the right direction. Consistency is your best friend here. Do these stretches daily, and you'll be amazed at how much more freely your hips start to move. Whether it's getting in and out of the car, climbing stairs, or even just standing up from your favorite chair without that awful stiffness. In the next part, we'll cover the final stretch, one that's fantastic for improving hip mobility and balance, plus some bonus tips to make these stretches even more effective. But for now, give these 2 a try and pay attention to how your body responds. And if getting on the floor isn't an option, you can modify this stretch in a chair. Just cross your ankle over the opposite knee and lean forward slightly while keeping your spine straight. The key is to adapt, not avoid. Next up is a stretch that's magic for lower back and hip tightness, 2 areas that love to team up and cause trouble. It's called the knee to chest stretch, but we're going to do it in a way that really targets those stubborn hip muscles. Lie on your back again, knees bent. Bring one knee up toward your chest, clasping your hands around your shin or behind your thigh. Now, here's the important part. Keep your other foot flat on the floor. You've made it to the final stretch, literally. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge something important. You're doing this. Right now, you're taking control of your mobility, your comfort, and your independence. That's not a small thing. Every time you choose to move, to stretch, to care for your body, you're writing a different story for your golden years. One where you're active, capable, and free from unnecessary pain. Now, let's dive into our 5th and final stretch. One that's especially powerful because it doesn't just help your hips, it improves your entire posture and balance. It's called the standing hip circles, and it's like giving your hips a gentle, rejuvenating massage. Here's how to do it safely. Stand tall behind a sturdy chair, holding the backrest for support. Lift one knee slightly, just a few inches, and start making small, controlled circles with your hip. Imagine you're drawing a quarter-size circle with your knee. Do 5 to 10 circles clockwise, then reverse direction. Keep the movement slow and deliberate. This isn't about speed, it's about mobilizing that joint. Switch legs and repeat. What's beautiful about this stretch is that it warms up your hip joint in all directions, something we rarely do in daily life. Most of us only move our hips forward, walking, or backward sitting, but our hips are designed to rotate and glide too. When we neglect those movements, stiffness creeps in. This simple exercise helps prevent that. Now, let's talk about making all these stretches even more effective with 3 bonus tips. First, heat is your friend. If your hips feel particularly stiff, try applying a warm towel or heating pad for 5 to 10 minutes before stretching. Heat increases blood flow to the area, making your muscles more pliable. Avoid heat if you have acute inflammation or swelling. Ice may be better in those cases. Second, timing matters. Many people find their hips are stiffest first thing in the morning. But rather than forcing a big stretch right out of bed, try doing these after a short walk or even after a warm shower when your body is more limber. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to these 5 stretches for just 2 weeks. Do them daily, maybe in the morning while your coffee brews, or in the evening during the nightly news. Notice how your body responds. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Leave a comment below sharing your progress. Which stretch made the biggest difference for you? What activities are becoming easier? Your story might inspire someone else to take that first step toward pain-free movement. If this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more simple, actionable tips to thrive after 60. Because here's the truth. Age may change our bodies, but it doesn't have to limit our lives. Here's to your health, your mobility, and your joy, today and every day ahead. Now go show those hips some love.